Hello and welcome back to Traffic Talks. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. Today we're doing a catch-up. I had an interesting conversation with my bestie who's on another continent, so we struggled to make a time to speak to one another because I forgot, then he had people and couldn't talk, and then it was just I got caught up with work and then I missed it. So it was a whole lot of back and forth for like 4 days trying to just get a hold of one another. And when we did, we spoke for like 2 hours and we just caught up on everything and it was the best. So I thought, why not do that with you guys? I already had this episode in the making, so that conversation just sparked a whole lot of inspo for more podcasts to come, as well as this catch up. This is going to be a casual catch up happening in December, hence the name. However, it's basically going to be my way of just catching you up with what has been happening and kind of wrapping up this year in terms of things that I just thought, why not? That's what this is, and I hope you enjoy. So one of the first things that was actually the last thing I did yesterday was do a weigh-in. My mom and I actually agreed to some sort of weekly or bi-monthly weigh-in. So that usually takes place on a Sunday, and we kind of want to do it at the same time each week or every second week, just to try and keep more accurate track of what's going on. So for my mom, it's more of like a specific weight that she wants to remain in. And for me, because the scale we use, I'll take a picture and upload it to my Instagram. Hint, hint. It's a very like modern scale. It weighs like BMI, muscle mass, weight, all those kinds of things, like water composition, all sorts of, you know me, nerdy stats that I can track. And one of the updates is that I've actually gained a kilo, but that kilo is actually in muscle. So yes, I've gained a kilo from the last time I weighed myself, but it's not in body weight, it's actually in muscle mass. So from the last time I weighed myself till now, I've gained a kilo of muscle mass, which is just something I wanted to proudly say, because like I always say, it's not about the numbers on a scale, it's about how you feel. I know people who never weigh themselves and just go by like how their clothes fit, which that's their thing. You do you. For me, I always say it's about feeling good in your body. I mean, if I can go up a flight of stairs and not feel winded, that's an achievement to me. Because I know, like, never a good thing for me to go upstairs. It always sucks because I get out of breath at the end. Gaining my fitness and not necessarily a certain figure has always been a goal of mine, so I'm slowly working up to that. I have been exercising, like I said. I get up, I exercise, I shower, I get on with my day. That has been my new routine, which I'm desperately trying to stick to. It's one of the very few things I've made a disciplined change with. I always say don't focus on too many habits at once, because you're not going to overhaul your life overnight. You know, focus on one thing, get it down, start the next thing, or tackle maybe 2 things that intertwine and then go from there. That habit has clearly been paying off, and it's definitely something I want to continue with going into the new year, especially the holiday season. That's going to get a bit, you know, it makes everyone a bit lazy and lethargic. So it's definitely something I want to stick to, not only for the holiday period, but increase going into next year, especially for just all the beautiful benefits in terms of like mental health and those kinds of things, because it definitely does play a big part in terms of your mental health. Exercise is important. We've covered this previously. You know the deal. One thing a lot of people do is actually exercise while they watch TV, and a lot of people have been like, no, this is their holy grail of exercise. Like, they put on a show and they exercise during that show. So yes, they're rewarding themselves by watching whatever show they're watching, but they also get a workout in. So it's like a 2 for 1, and that is a really good thing. But it actually leads me into my next update, which is shows I've been watching. So we know I'm terrible at watching shows, not consistently, but like watching them and not getting too bored, or just getting too busy and not finishing it. Because I think I've just got this issue with ending things. Like, I'm not good at it. Like, I will watch everything except the last episode, the last 2 episodes, and then like wait a month and then watch it. I'm terrible with that kind of a thing. And then also when shows get through too like dramatic or like too sad, I tend to take a long break. I remember, I don't know if any of you have watched it, spoiler alert for Jane the Virgin, so skip ahead, but Michael dies in the series, and I think he dies like season 3. And like before I started the following season, I was just like, I just need like a week of mourning to get over this. Like, it's a TV show character, like it's not real, but like, no. There was emotion. So I struggle to watch TV shows, but we have been watching quite a few. I'm not sure if I mentioned it previously. We watched Cobra Kai, which is incredible, which is like a follow-up of like years after the whole Karate Kid saga. Cobra Kai is like the next generation. It's really interesting. We watched that series. We watched The New Legend of Monkey. We've watched One Day at a Time, which is incredible, especially with all their themes and all their major things that are just happening in not only America, but how it's affecting their family, their friends, all sorts of things. It's a brilliant show. One show I'm actually watching, well, anime rather, is Castlevania on Netflix, and addicted. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, so into it. I watch like an episode every like day or every second day. I'm on season 3. It's not long, but I've said it before, I'm bad at watching things. So for the show to be as interesting as it is, and for me to literally watch an episode every day or every second day, you know it's good. Highly recommend that one. I haven't seen a lot of movies. We've been on this binge of classics. So we watched Forrest Gump. We watched Shawshank Redemption. Can I just say, Shawshank Redemption. Wow. I waited way too long to watch that movie. It is such a classic, and now I see why. Like Grease, like all those classics. Like, we've been rewatching those kinds of movies, and they are great. We've even watched some of the more 90s ones. So, Space Jam. My sister watched that for the first time. She's 10 years younger than what I am, and her mind was blown. She's like, that's such a good movie. I'm like, we know. That's why we told you to watch it. So we've been watching that. She's really into horror, so she's about to start the Scream series of movies. So good luck to her. And haven't been on a real movie binge. I've just been trying to like get through series. So we'll see. But I'm very excited for a lot of like Christmas movies coming up. I know the Princess Switch. I think there's like 3 movies out now. A new one just released, so they seem like Christmassy movies, so I'm gonna watch those. I'm gonna watch the crap out of those 3. The Holiday, I think, is also another one. Not sponsored by Netflix, BT dubs. Well, not yet anyway, but definitely excited to get through those, get through some Christmas movies and series, see what's happening there. We all know Christmas crazy is where I'm at. One thing I definitely wanted to also update on was finances. That is something I think I'm definitely gonna do like an entire series or something on, because I do love talking about finances, saving, investing, even though I'm honestly very crap at it. I like the learning aspect of it. Like, there's no one way to get to your goal. Everyone's different. I mean, they always say, if you did this whatever at home, it would be cheaper because you would be saving this amount of money. Sometimes you just don't want to go through that rigmarole of DIYing your expensive mocha frappuccino latte dolce whatever yourself. You want to go somewhere, have a barista make it, and sit and enjoy it, and then move on with your day. I get it's expensive, but that's what you pay for. And I mean, that's one person might be like, I can do that at home. Someone else will be like, I'm not trying that ever. And that's fine. But those people will find different ways to save money in other places. And that's the beauty of finances. But what I wanted to update on was, I was still buying, literally today, my last Christmas presents. And I think it's because Black Friday has lasted like a month instead of a day. Like, Black Friday is usually like a day to a weekend, and then Cyber Monday. This year has screwed up everything so much. Black Friday has literally been a week prior, the weekend of, and then the weekend after. Like, we are still suffering like Black Friday aftershocks. Like I said, I save up my money so that I know how much I have to spend, and I've been pushing that envelope, really. Like, I usually use about like a third to a half of the money every year. This year I'm like 3/4, like almost at the end of the line. It's been a year. I will say I did buy myself a lot of things, so I think that is probably why, and they weren't cheap gifts, but it's for me. I'm spoiling myself. Black Friday, you killed me. Like, how dare you? Finances, definitely push the envelope with that. However, I have been looking at my finances, and I'm definitely ready to overhaul the crap out of it. Hence me saying I want to do a series on it, or at least like a podcast or update or something like that. Not only to just get myself together so that I can be prepared for the podcast, but also kind of keep myself accountable and give like an update once a month or so, just to be like, this is where I'm at, I'm on par, or even just for myself to track like, how's it going? Because you never know, you learn tips and tricks, and a budgeting style that maybe works for you now won't work in the future, or one that you are trying now is not working for you, and maybe going back to an older method works better. So a lot of things are trial and error, but you never know unless you learn and explore things, and that's definitely what I want to do with this. Music wise, I have been literally just repeating Taylor Swift's Lover album. I don't know why, but it's been good. I've also been catching up on some podcasts that I've been meaning to get to and just haven't. Those have been my music updates. Like, I've just been on this Taylor binge. I've actually also gone through Sean Paul's old Tomahawk Techniques album. It was a really, really good one. So I've been listening to that as well. I've actually also been messing around with different music options for this podcast. As you'll have noticed, the intro is different, the background music is different, and the outro is different. So, well, you haven't gotten to the outro yet, but it will be different because I've also been messing around with that music. So I haven't really been listening to like new music. I do know there's a lot of Christmas music out. There's a Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande and Jennifer Hudson Christmas song out. I'm not sure what it's called. I haven't listened to it yet, but I've seen it like everywhere. So I'm definitely wanting to like go listen to it, watch the video, like definitely excited for that. Music, I haven't really started the Christmas album, which is disgraceful, but I will get there. One thing I also wanted to update on was having a lot of epiphanies. I did mention this to my friend when we were talking, but I've just been having the most profound epiphanies of things throughout my life that I've just been realizing like, oh, that thing stems from that, or that is something I've developed from doing A, B, or C. And that is actually something that has been very interesting because it's caused this very positive mental and spiritual and emotional shift, because once we realize where something originates from, we can make positive changes towards becoming better because of it, not in spite of it. I don't know if you understand the difference I'm trying to explain. It's a way of taking something that has happened or that we have learned or become ingrained with, and instead of saying, ugh, I hate this thing, I'm going to change it, you're going to say, I see this thing, I acknowledge it, I accept it as part of my past, but I'm going to move forward and use it for the better because now I know where it originates from. I know why I do it, so now I know how I can change it and move forward. And he and I were speaking a lot about how things we've grown up with, whether consciously or subconsciously, we've taken with us into our lives. And being as old as we are, we now have to see where this thing originated from, acknowledge it, and try and undo all these years of habit and acceptance of what this thing is, and try and rework it and change it to our current life. And that is insanely difficult. Like I said, it's not something you can just change your life overnight, because it's harder to form a new habit than just to fall into an old one. And that's essentially what that is. And for me, being able to look back and find where things originated from has been very, very insightful because some of those things are still in play today. Like, I still see those things happening to me when I go to automatically do something. For example, I will automatically get up and make my bed, and then I'll walk past my brother's room and I will see his bed is unmade, and then I will have to literally fight the urge to make his bed. And that may seem like something frivolous, but to me it was something that can be seen as patriarchal, misogynistic, gendered normed, just BS. And it's something that I have to, on a daily basis, fight myself from doing and then praise myself for not doing, which seems weird, but it's almost that what it actually is, reinforcement. I have to tell myself, no, don't make the bed. It's no longer ingrained in you. You don't make the bed, you shouldn't make the bed, it's not your responsibility. And then when I do manage to walk away and not do it, I have to be like, good job, you didn't make the bed, good job. Because the first thing I do when I wake up is make my bed. So having to undo this ingrained trait of, in this case, making the bed, has been hard. And now I can walk past and not be fazed. But for the most part, it was very difficult in the beginning, and that's what these epiphanies have done. They help you realize, kind of like a navigation system, where you need to be going, what sidetracks you and what not, and can actually help so much with personal development, that it's always a good thing that when these thoughts maybe pop into your head and you are busy, to just maybe jot them down somewhere, like on a notepad or on your phone notes, and just check in weekly or something with them, just so that you can get it out but also explore it. One thing I like to do is, if I have these notes, I set a reminder on myself for my phone for the time that I journal. So I generally tend to do things very routinely. As we know, I love routines. I tend to set my Google Calendar reminder for the same time that I journal, maybe like a minute after I start my journaling time, to just pop up with this note attached. So I can click on the note, be sent to where I wrote it down, and be able to explore whatever I wrote down and whatever that epiphany was. And that has helped me realize a lot of things. And another thing, I don't think I've ever told you this, I started this last year, and it's just a random list of at least 50 things that I like to do, or it was literally a list of 50 things that makes me happy. And one of the things was actually flying. The 50 list isn't complete yet. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, much like myself. But when I do suddenly realize, like, doing this really makes me very, very happy, I tend to go back and write it down. And one of the things was flying, and my friend and I were speaking about flying and traveling and things, and I was like, I have flown for the last few years once a year. I do an annual trip to a cousin of mine, and this year I didn't get to fly, and the date I usually fly on, it's like a fixed time every year, I missed it. And because of the lockdown and things, I was so sad. But now I've realized, like, I do want to fly, I do want to travel, I do want to do all these things. Flying makes me happy. It's something I should work towards doing. So realizing these things for yourself, like I said, is like a GPS, a navigation. It'll help you figure out what makes you happy, what you actually want to do, and where you need to go, what you should avoid, and those types of things. So it's tuning yourself and finding what makes you happy. Like I said in last week's podcast, if I'm not mistaken, December, January, and February is a lot of soul-searching work, a lot of routine work, a lot of habit work, and this is where I find a lot of my foundation is built in these 3 months. And like a lot of things, you need a strong foundation if you want to have a good house built upon it. A lot of hard work goes into this 3 months, and a lot of epiphanies and introspection, and a lot of just sorting through emotional baggage, which is like the worst kind of baggage ever, is what I'm doing right now. It's been exhausting, but it's been well worth the effort for the enlightenment you actually get. And I think that being able to enjoy this process is something that is going to benefit once again in the long run, because if you aren't enjoying the process and you're just trying to get to the destination, it's not going to work. Life's only destination is death, as morbid as it sounds. You need to enjoy the journey, because everyone starts everyone ends, but it's what you do in between that counts. So why be miserable for that journey? It's like literally sitting in a car going somewhere and just being like, when are we gonna get there? What is the point if you can't enjoy the scenery, enjoy the twists and turns, enjoy whatever makes you happy in the car? Do you? One thing I always do in December, which once again makes me so happy, like my family knows this, is building puzzles. It seems, I will admit, it seems like an odd thing, but I do love puzzles. And I'm not talking like 50-piece puzzles, 500-piece puzzles. I'm talking like 1,000-piece puzzles. I've got, I think, two. I've got a 1,500-piece puzzle, which I finished. I've got a 500-piece. I've got a couple of 1,000 pieces. My voice sounds a bit funny. Sorry, I was turning to check. I have a few 1,000-piece puzzles. I have a 1,500, a 500, a 300, and a couple of other ones that my mom gifted to me. So like Christmas presents is always acceptable to be a puzzle. Like, I love that. That's something I do. My sister bought me a puzzle mat thing where it's literally like this folded out piece of material with like the special, I don't even know what it's called, but you can open it up, do your puzzle on it, and then roll it up with the incomplete puzzle inside, and it will keep all the pieces exactly where you place them so that you can just unroll it and then continue on without having to like break it apart. That has been fabulous. I love that. So I think I'll take a picture of the puzzle I have completed last year and then show you my progress as I do my new one for this year. I like it. It takes me forever to do it. I sit for little hours and build a puzzle. I think it's the funniest thing, or like the oddest thing about myself that I just love. But yeah, those are my updates. That's it for this week. I honestly feel like I've just been like churning out the episodes without really fully updating you on what's been happening, so I thought I'd just do this to catch up. I do have a lot more works in the making. It's been a bit difficult. I mean, Christmas is coming. I've been Christmas crazy. I've been overhauling like areas in my house, in my room, you know, just going crazy. So it's been a bit difficult to get uploads up on time. I've been opening a daily advent calendar, which was once again a gift to myself that I'm loving, and I've definitely been like uploading daily pictures of it. So I'm definitely trying to be more active on social media just to try and up that game a bit, and hopefully once again build that habit so that next year comes, I'm already solidly in that habit, and hopefully I can stick with it, not just when I have things like an advent calendar to post, but when I don't have things already set for me to post, and just be able to do social media to a better extent, just to be able to keep with the habit of social media and hopefully just be better at it going forward. But yeah, that's that. The song of the week is Don't Be So Hard on Yourself by Jess, Glynne. That I think is a song we can take literally through every day, especially if it's a bad one, because like it says, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, you know what you're capable of. You know if today is going to be like a high vibe day, or like just be like I'm just going to try and make it through this day kind of a day. You do your best that only you can do. That's it. Other updates, I think I don't have any. Next week's episode hopefully will be uploaded the morning of Monday, not like this one the evening, because I know this one's going up late. And you can check out my Instagram. I will leave a link below, as well as the links to my music that I use. They're all completely free. None of this is a sponsored, nothing is an ad, nothing is provided for me. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week. Love you. Bye.